in detail the heresy of Jehovah's Witnesses about Christ's second advent, and recite and reference the verse that they misinterpreted to get this belief. Part B. How did Jehovah's Witnesses determine the exact calculation of Christ's second advent? Please explain in detail and give references where needed. Part C. When Jehovah's Witnesses were wrong about the exact date of Christ's second advent, they became embarrassed and covered their heresy with another heresy. Please state the other heresy they used to cover up the first one. Church B, here's your question. Part A. Give 2 verses that make clear that through him all things were made. References are not required. Part B. Explain in detail what His Holiness means when he says God through him made all things. Give verses and references where needed. Part C. His Holiness asked the question, is it reasonable then to ask, who is the Creator, the Father or the Son? Explain what we say about this and give the analogy that His Holiness used to explain this.
So for the first part, where the heresy of the Christ's second advent, they said that Christ was gonna come and judge us and send us to our actions, to either to the heavenly paradise where 144,000 people who are Jehovah's Witnesses and good go there, and then the earthly paradise where Jehovah's Witnesses but they're not as good go there, and then to the last paradise where only good people who did good actions on earth go. And then for the second part, they determined the date by they took the number of imprisoned person and they multiplied it, and then they added the year from that date, from the date they made the thing. And for the third part, when they figured out they messed up, they said that Christ came invisibly, so nobody saw him, and that so he left and came invisibly, so that's why nobody saw him.
Through him all things were made. A verse that says that is in the beginning was the Word, and in the beginning was the Word with God, and with God was the Word. And God through him all things were made. A verse that states that was it was that Christ spun his own creations, and the difference between Jehovah's Witnesses say that the Father was the Creator and he created the Son, but we say that the Father and the Son are one, so neither created. They were both the creators.
There are 2 main celebrations of St. Mark on the 30th of Barmuda and the 30th of Beba. State the significance of each. Describe in detail the liturgical readings on the 30th of Barmuda. Provide biblical references where applicable. Church A. There is hardly any prayer in the church that doesn't mention St. Mark's name, glorifying him or requesting his intercession and asking for blessing. There are prayers in the liturgy, the Agbeya book, and praises that commemorate him. Name and explain in detail the prayers in the liturgy that mention his name. Provide quotes from the liturgy.
The 2 main celebrations of St. Mark on 30 of Barmoda is the 68th year AD, the 14th year of the Nirons. Of 29th Barmoda, the Christians were celebrating Easter in the church of Pukalia. The Egyptians and the Greeks were celebrating the national day of their idol god Serapis. The liturgical readings on 30th of Barmoda talked about the apostles and their work.
The prayers in the liturgy come from John 8, and it mentions St. Mark preaching, the choosing of the apostles, and their work, and also the litanies mention his name and the praxis, and the praxis says, peace be with you, O martyr, peace for the evangelist, peace for the apostle, and peace be for the beholder of God. And also the Synaxarium says, it mentions It mentions St. Mark's death.
Church A. In order, name the chain of virtues. Where does self-control fit in the chain of virtues? Provide 4 biblical references supporting any of the virtues as provided in the book. For Church B, what are the 4 functions that constitute a human personality? Please match each of the 4 functions to the Gospels. What are 2 characteristics of a well-developed feeling function? What is the first way of nourishing and developing the feeling function? Provide biblical references to support your answers.
Chain of virtues are in order of faith, virtue, knowledge, perseverance, self-control, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. 4 biblical references. One is the bleeding woman who was bleeding for 18 years. She had faith. She believed that if she had touched Jesus' robe, she would be healed. And also the bleeding woman showed perseverance, because it was 18 years until she got healed. She kept going. She persevered through the sickness. Also, the 4 friends who took the paralyzed man to Jesus through the roof, they also had faith because they believed Jesus could heal their friend, and they had perseverance because they went to go heal their friend, but there was a crowd around Jesus and they couldn't get to him, so they didn't give up and they went through the roof. And then the last one is knowledge. Solomon asked for wisdom from God. He gave him wisdom and knowledge.
The 4 functions that constitute human personality are, for the Gospel of St. Matthew, the thinking function. For the Gospel of St. Mark, the feeling function. For the Gospel of St. Luke, the sensing function. And for the Gospel of St. John, the intuition function. 2 characteristics of a well-developed feeling function are a good faith and determination. The first way of nourishing and developing the feeling function is showing kindness to others in as many ways possible.
For Church A, St. Mary, Baltimore, got 15.7. Church B, St. Mary, St. George, Staten Island, Team 2, got 13.